Hello, and welcome to episode 124 of the Book Wars Pod. I am Kate, and I'm here with Chris and Miranda, and we're starting to talk about Resistance Reborn by Rebecca Roanhorse through chapter 9. Keeks is also here. We are trying a new fucking recording bitch, and we don't know how this thing works. So she's going to be doing producing, so she still gets to be a fucking monster on the soundboard and drink and drink whatever the hell thing she just drank that made a god almighty face that like I was like fucking like spat tea out laughing at her.
Yeah, that was fantastic also because like me and Kate, like Kristen just like made like a really like gagging face, and me and Kate both just like laughed at her. Miranda was just so into the theme song and she was just still dancing. No idea.
Yeah, I totally missed this.
You're jamming, man. That's cool. You can do that. Yeah, so what are we all drinking today? Wait, Kristen gets to talk for like 5 seconds to tell us what disgusting ass piece of shit she's drinking.
Hi, we got the Corona hard seltzers in the house.
Oh, blackberry lime.
And it's supposed to be blackberry lime, which I think we were all cautiously optimistic about. And they are way worse than the Bud Light seltzers, which were pretty good. So, yeah, no, it just kind of... No.
It's really hard to screw that up. Like those are two great tastes that go great together.
It's Corona. How are they fucking something up with lime in it?
God, Corona can't even do one thing right this year.
We're doomed.
Oh my god, everyone. Well, that makes me sad inside. That's just fucking great. Miranda, what have we here?
I'm drinking whiskey. It's the Freeland Spirits bourbon I had on the Black Spire episode. It's still good. I still like it.
It's delightful. Chris,
Yes!
Also, Chris, what are you drinking? And also, can you stop rocking? Because number one, I have you rocking literally right next to me in the fucking office. And number two, I have you fucking rocking in my fucking computer screen. So it's just like, just a lot of motion happening both in my direct vision and in my periphery, and I'm going to kill you.
I mean, we can get you blinders.
I'm not a horse. Oh my god.
I was gonna drink. I woke up this morning thinking I was gonna drink whiskey for the pod, and then I took the dog out, and it's like 98 degrees right now. So I'm not doing that.
See, that's the
I am
trick.
drinking a passion fruit Truly, and it's good. It sounds like significantly better than Kristen's blackberry lime Corona seltzer.
I just don't understand how you fuck that up.
I don't understand how you fuck a seltzer up. I also don't know how they work, like what goes into making one.
Yeah,
but it feels like it should be pretty easy.
It's alcoholic water.
There's like some bad seltzers out there though.
That's true. But like, damn, I feel like you're a large enough company that you should be able to afford like product testing, etc. And also, it's already awkward because we have a plague named after you, like obviously directly named after you. Because anyway, you would think you would like refine this just a little bit more, especially 2020 continues to give.
My brain is forever in the world of barrel-aged spirits, where I'm like, if it's clear, it's fucking easy to make and probably shitty. So like, I don't understand why it would be hard to make a seltzer. Because clearly it's just a beer that you didn't put in the barrel. That's how that works, right?
It's not my fault.
God. I mean, I'm going to look this up later. How does one make seltzer? I'm just having tea right now because after this, I need to go do some writing because they gave me money for the summer to write a thing. And they gave me the money before I had started working on the thing. So they're like, here, have some money, but also if you don't finish your thing on time, we're going to ask you for the money back. And that is due roundabouts Friday. And I'm not quite done with it yet. And I would like to keep the money they gave me. And writing while drunk is not actually as fun as Hemingway would have you think, funnily enough. My dog is coughing. Okay. So yeah, no, I've got what the hell tea is this, Chris?
The Tiger Hill thing, I think.
It's very specific.
It's stash teas. They're out of Portland, funnily enough. We just eat a lot of their tea because I need caffeine and also tea. Cool.
That was a very pregnant pause there.
I don't know why. It happened. Don't say pregnant in front of me. Don't.
Sometimes that does happen.
Okay. So Star Wars.
Pew pew.
If we must.
If we must.
We're doomed.
Truly. So we're very excited to be starting this book, especially after reading Black Spire. That was a thing that happened to Miranda and myself, and also Robin Mal. God bless him. Please, please, please listen to episode 123 because we suffered for you to read that book.
We made people
We
read
would
that
be
book for
honored
you.
if you would join us.
They didn't have to do it.
They didn't. They didn't.
And I'm not sure they felt good about it afterward, but here we are.
No. I don't think anyone felt good after reading that one. We're gonna keep it 100.
Yes. Well, but excited to read this. Rebecca Roanhorse, known for such books such as Trail of Lightning, which I also heartily recommend. I used to read a lot when I was a child, and then I discovered the computer, and now I have no attention span. But I read that book in literally 2 sittings because I could not put it down. It's so damn good. So go get that shit. Chris is nodding like he's read this book. You have not read this book yet.
No, I mean, I've heard good things. It's next on my to-read list
Yeah,
once I
okay.
finish.
I was about to say, good thing we're reading it.
Oh, no, that's just
In life.
the
He's reading it in life.
not the Star Wars one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't read the
Go, go,
reading
go,
for
I was
today.
like-
What are we talking about?
Ah, fuck you.
Shit, I hope you're reading this book. It's gonna be a real podcast, a real interesting podcast if you don't.
Oh my god. It's gonna be like me showing up to class when I haven't done the reading, which is like every class.
It's really just going to be me talking about what I wish Rise of Skywalker had been, and we'll see how close I get to the book.
Who says no?
Ooh, I mean, probably pretty close. Rebecca Roanhorse, and whereas we'll talk about that. Rebecca Roanhorse has similar feelings to us on Rise of Skywalker. Any fucking ways. So we have a book. This book takes place what? Just after TLJ?
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally a day or so after TLJ.
Okay.
30 seconds after Crate.
That's horrible.
Just like in the credits, right as they get to the In Memory of Carrie Fisher, that's when this is taking place.
Why would you say that to me? Oh my god! This is the last book I'm doing before I have to go back to school, and you don't have to listen to my beautiful voice anymore for 4 fucking months, and this is what you say to me?
Just so we're clear, I'm still going to be hearing your voice pretty often.
Like, you guys are married.
just so the folks are aware.
I just want y'all to know that every time, just when I tell Chris to just eat my entire ass, this is day-to-day life. This is just what happens. I hate you, Chris.
Now this is pod racing.
Chris, tell the people where we are because I'm so distraught now that you fucking said that.
Oh my god. We are several places. The main, well, I don't even know what the A plot of this book is, if it's Leia or if it's Poe.
It's Bofa.
It's both. Yeah,
It is
kinda,
Leia and her stupid son.
Yeah, there's kind of
Poe
two
Dameron.
A plots. So plot A1 is on the Falcon, somewhere in between Crate and Ryloth. So somewhere in the Outer Rim. And then Poe starts on Grail City, which is probably also in the Outer Rim. If you don't know where it is, just bets it's in the Outer Rim. And he is then goes trying to get allies for the Resistance. Oh, and then we're also on Akiva with Snap.
Lovely.
This is going to turn into like soundboard madness because Kristen no longer has to actually like pay attention to contribute. She only needs to find drop spots.
It's fine.
She's just making this face like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
She looks so pleased with herself. It's amazing.
Oh my god. Speaking of Grail City, would you also explain the comics plot tie-in things? So this, because I know we wanted to talk a little bit about how this is a book that is, speaking of an interconnected universe, extremely interconnected because Rebecca Roanhorse did her entire fucking homework like 2 times.
One in a row.
I know, and then like took her comps on fucking Star Wars.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. So like this book is really a fantastic example of what the universe could be. Although I do want to ask Kate, you and Miranda, what you like, how much you were able to get and how much you felt like you were missing out. But essentially, this book borrows heavily from the Poe Dameron comics, from Bloodline, as we've already had some mentions of Leia reminiscing about Senator Casterfoe, as well as meeting our wonderful Prince Yendor, and also from the Aftermath trilogy when we meet Nora and Wedge, and they are living the home life on Akiva.
They're cottagecore.
They're very cottagecore.
God.
But so the Poe Dameron comics, basically the whole. Oh, and Kristen, just our producer, just reminded me to shout out our episodes on Bloodline, which we read for episodes 4 through 8 of the podcast. Kristen, would you be able to find? Oh, and she anticipated my needs. We also read Aftermath episodes 42 through 46 of the pod. So if you just are really not in enough pain during this quarantine, you can listen to those as well. But anyway, so the Poe Dameron comics, just to give folks background, because I know we have not read them on the pod. We don't recommend giving Marvel money because their editor-in-chief and senior editor in charge of Star Wars comics are very, very racist. But basically what happens is the final arc of the Poe Dameron comic takes place essentially between TLJ and this book. And it tells us where Black Squadron has been during TLJ, because obviously they are not in that film. And basically they're out looking for allies pretty unsuccessfully, and then save a planet called Ikruk and a city called Grail City from the First Order with a last-minute assist from Poe, who finds a way to get to them post-TLJ.
Yeah, he does none of the work and comes in to save the day at the end.
It's
very Poe move.
Very, very Poe move. And so I guess my question is, for those of you who hadn't read the Poe Dameron comics specifically, and unfortunately we, by nature of this podcast, we don't have anybody who hasn't read Bloodline or Aftermath on here right now. But how did you feel about how that was worked in?
I didn't realize that was even a tie-in to a comic, so I was just like, oh, you went to this planet, and they all seem to be assholes on the planet, but they know how to throw a party, and look, he saved the day. Snaps here. He's married.
He is. Yeah, I see. It kind of is too bad that all of us have read almost all the things, because I wonder how I would have felt about it, like having Grail City references thrown in there, and also the Casterfoe references thrown in there, and if I had come into this not really knowing about the bloodline stuff or being familiar with Nora, like how it would have, because like I don't know, it feels, because I wonder how much of that, like for me it felt like recap, but I wonder how much of that would have felt like just a whole lot of like weird summarizing happening in the beginning, which Rebecca Roanhorse is a writer who she writes everything. Everything is super quick paced. Everything is super plot driven. Especially if you read Trail of Lightning, it just kind of just like it just keeps rolling. Whereas like this book where it starts off, it takes a little while to get them. I feel like to get the wheels going out of the mud. Just because she's doing a whole lot of recap, and so I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I was fine with it because I was just like, oh yeah, these are fun. And I have spoilers for later in the book because Chris spoiled me the first time I read this. I won't say anything else. But like I'm sure things are purposeful. But I I don't know how much I would have been mad at that if I had come into this with like literally nothing.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, as somebody who just adores Bloodline, like, it was exciting for me to, like, see that. Be like, hell yeah, she misses her little space Nazi friend.
It's true.
But, like, I think mainly regarding the tie-ins to Aftermath, like, it is good that there is the, like, kind of summary and the explanation of who they are, because they're just like, Wedge Antilles is living on this fucking planet you've never heard of in a cottage with his not wife.
Yes.
And their son is a pilot, and there's tension, and like Snap is presented as like this kind of important character right at the beginning, and it's like you're supposed to know who he is. There's not like a whole lot of an introduction at first to him. So again, I read the Aftermath books, so I can't tell you what it's like to come in cold. But I think that at least, even if there would be that kind of, not confusion, but something like at the top, you figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, if any of our readers did come into this cold and hadn't read any of the 3 kind of source documents, for lack of a better term, for this book, definitely let us know how this first part worked for you, because again, particularly with Leia, there was a lot of recap. I agree with you, Kate. But it's interesting, Miranda, that you say that like you didn't even realize that like the Poe Dameron stuff was a comic, because I feel like that's the ideal, right? Like I feel like the ideal is just like, oh, adventures happened, that's cool, and if you do care about them, you can be like, oh, there's more about this, and comics exist, and I can go read those.
Exactly, and I think the difference between that and like I know the difference between that and like the shit with the Wexleys is we know Poe. Like he is in the movies. If this is the first Star Wars book that you've ever read, you know who Poe Dameron is. Whereas with like, Leia name dropping Casterfell, you're like, who's this guy? And like
I don't know who you are or where you came from.
You don't necessarily need to have the background information, but it's just a lot more time going like, who is this? Why is he Snap? Why does he hate his mom?
Yeah. And also, if you're in that position, particularly if you're an original Shoji fan, you're like, why the fuck is Wedge just a farmer?
He's living his best cottagecore life.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And that's like
TikTok.
a discussion that we've had in the past about why Wedge is where he is when we read the Aftermath trilogy. But it is interesting how that happens. And that was something, again, not to, we actually, surprisingly enough, don't do a lot of shitting on the EU as a podcast. But
because we haven't read it.
I've read, well, the parts of it that I've read, I felt very out of the loop for not having read everything. And like I feel like that's part of where the EU was difficult and part of where it went a little bit wrong, is that when it got so, and also like the canon hasn't gotten as big as the EU was yet, so we'll see if they can maintain books and series standing independently. But I did not feel like I was coming in at an equal level to other people. Like I felt like I felt like I didn't do the homework to read the book I was reading, which was a really frustrating feeling.
Yeah. Just to kind of like plus one that and things Miranda has been saying, I think that because we have Poe and Leia as our both like our main narrators and also like anchor characters, that gives readers who are coming into this fresh the buy-in of like, okay, well, at least I know what's going on here mostly, so I'll just get to know all these other motherfuckers, I guess. But you know, the emotional buy-in with those characters, I think, is there, that will make you okay, I don't know who these people are, but I'll keep reading, and then hopefully you get attached to everybody else as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like this is the book where you can tie other things in, because for exactly what you said, like, these are people that if you like have seen Star Wars, you know who these people are, and probably more than any other book in the new canon, with the possible exception of Bloodline, although Bloodline is really just Leia. Mm-hmm. Whereas this, like, all the separate threads have all these different characters. So that's a really great point, Kate.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Last Shot, I think.
Oh yeah,
for
yes.
That's
just
looking
great
up
point.
at like
Yes.
any Star Wars book on my shelf. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt, but accept Snap for the getting to know and love the characters.
And just a note from our producer, we read Last Shot, which is a Han and Lando adventure by Dana Jose Older, on episodes 58 through 61. So check that out as well. God, we're going to reference old episodes so much more now that Kristen is in more of the producer role, at least for this book.
You hate to see it.
Oh my god. Yes, just tell people, look at all these episodes we did that also just involve us ship posting for about an hour straight.
Ship
But I was going
posting
to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Just like that.
That's it. That's the podcast.
Yes, it's true. So speaking of Leia as an anchor character, let's talk about Leia.
She's very tired.
She's so tired. Please let Mom.
She
literally does take a nap in the first part of this fucking book, but also like let her like take 10 naps. I don't know, something.
She's like a couple of days removed from being yeeted out into space.
Mm-hmm. And she's not feeling great, like physically. You know,
I can't imagine that's pleasant.
Yeah, like the Force or not, like. It's not healthy. It's not doctor recommended, to be sure.
4 out of 5 doctors do not recommend.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, like it's the first time where I think we see Leia really. I mean, I think like during Bloodline, she's like, I feel like old people, but like she feels like old people in this book. She's like feeling her age. She's feeling the fact that like. She is healing, but very slowly, and also she's having, like, I don't know. I feel like these are, like, pain problems that are gonna, like, follow her around for, like, ever, because old people bones ain't like young people bones. Miranda's laughing at me.
It was funny.
Just, yeah, I don't know. They're brittle and sad. Unlike Leia's will. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's delving into Leia in a way that I haven't seen her character be delved into since Claudia Gray wrote Bloodline, or Claudia Gray wrote anything about Leia, period, because Claudia Gray is the queen of writing Leia.
Mm-hmm. That's true, although I do think that Rebecca Roanhorse has given her a run for her money.
If anyone can write Leia well, I just want them to do it.
Yeah.
The more writers who can really get Leia, just like give it to us, please.
Yeah, it's very like me. Let's explore new eras and new characters instead of like going back to old standbys. Also me. Is Leia picking up a paperclip in this story?
Yeah,
Let's read it.
Yeah, and
honestly, it's super true. Also, and I say again, kind of a refreshing experience from the previous book we read, where we were like, "What the what?"
It's like, I don't know who this is, but it's like 3 toddlers in a trench coat dressed as Leia. And the thing with this too, and when I was when I was thinking through this thought, I couldn't decide if I wanted to like take it back and pick the other side of it. and maybe there's a happy middle ground, but I think this is also the first time that we see Leia just, even for like 30 seconds, that's my halfway point. Like, even for 30 seconds, get to like sit with the fucking trauma that she's been dealing with her whole fucking life. Like, you know, we think back to Bloodline, and it's like, oh, they just blew up the Senate. That's bad, but I gotta go do this shit. Like, fuck. You know, she's just constantly moving. And even in this one, I think, like, because she's physically not at her best, like, yeeted into space, etc., you know, she can't be, like, as active at this second. And of course, she's still like making all these plans. She's still getting everyone out there, and that's where I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't a good point. But you finally get to see her be like, there's like 3 people in the rebellion right now, or the resistance. Like, this seems bad. We asked people to come help us on the fucking salt planet, and nobody came. Which, as we learn in this book, like, there's probably some reasons. But, like, that's bad.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of kinds of vulnerability here in her character that we haven't really gotten to see before. I'm interested to see whether we get more of her thinking about Luke, because space twins.
Luke.
What?
Luke.
Look at the size of that thing.
Oh my god.
It's a big twink.
It's true. But yeah, just like, I don't know, that she kind of had just gotten him back after him just like cutting himself off from the Force, and like, I don't have siblings and I know nothing, but you know, the way the way twins have always been like explained to me is just like, one of them dies and the other one is alive, and it's just like, cool, my arm fell off, you know? It's like horrible. So I don't know. I would be interested to see if the book goes into that any more than, you know, we've seen so far. And like, I don't know, the fact that I think that scene where she's having fucking tea with Yendor and his mouthy children, and what?
No, I'd like the description.
It's like when she has that moment of, yeah, Luke's dead, and Yendor's like, come again? She's like, I said what I said, and then she's just like, I'm so tired, Yendor. Do you have any place in this godforsaken cave where I can build a nest and go to bed? Like, I don't know. I've never seen her, or I don't think we've really seen her do that outside of like her like family or her found family or like whatever. So
yeah, and another aspect which like obviously is unavoidable to think about is obviously that within a year of this, Leia is dead. And
thanks, JJ, you fucking asshole.
Regardless of our thoughts about that decision or how it was executed, you wonder how much of the plot of Rise of Skywalker Rebecca Roanhorse knew. I feel like it was very little, if anything, except that they weren't going to let her make Finn and Poe gay.
Boo.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Yeah, I think logistically speaking, she can't have known a ton about it because they fucking took Trevorrow's script, punted it straight to Pluto, and then brought
That's
KJ
true.
back in.
Honestly, that's a great point that, like, the script was probably in progress as this book was in progress. That's an excellent point.
Which, yikers.
Yeah. Great process by everyone involved. But it is interesting because you also, and this is not, this is Rise of Skywalker novelization by Ray Carson, a little extra info, but in that book, the way Ray Carson kind of handles Leia's death is that basically from the start of the movie / the book, Luke is in Leia's ear, kind of gently being like, Leia, it's time to go. Like, you are tired. it is time to join us, like in the Force. And
You're tired, let's die now.
huh?
You're tired, let's die now.
Yeah, exactly. And
Guess I'll die.
so, and like, you know, obviously that changes the fridging herself for Ben aspect of it, but
God.
it also, like, you wonder how much of it was that she just never recovered from the events of The Last Jedi, because it was rough, and Leia is someone who was never really given the opportunity to feel the effects of what's happened to her until now.
What, getting straight blasted into space and then hopping out of your fucking coma, like, prematurely to, like, go hop on a spaceship and then yell at your son? Kristen says the rise of Skywalker is bad. That is
Correct.
an opinion.
A hot take. Truly scalding.
She said what she said. Great. Well, now I'm sad. So,
Yeah, let's talk about happier stuff,
like redemption?
like redemption. Oh, God. I'm like,
Like how
I'm actually-
Kylo gets redeemed.
huh?
Like how Kylo gets redeemed. He's Ben now.
I'm
Excuse you, it's Ben Solo.
I'm so happy that we never get that argument in our mentions, because it's exhausting. But yes, to continue talking about,
I'm sorry. The thought of Bendemption gave me cancer and also made me choke on my teeth. It's fine.
but this book does deal with redemption, like, and we see very early on that Rebecca Rowan, or that Leia says when she's talking to Rey, because Rey, you know, fairly, I think, is being like, hey, you know, this person who I've been trying to turn for the past like 3 days, and then they like completely didn't, and like almost wiped out me and my friends, and now everyone's upset. Like, that was weird, and he's your son. And and then we get Leia being like, look, it's not your responsibility to turn Ben back to the light. Like, the only person who can do that is Ben, and I'm not sure that's what he wants right now.
Because he's a dick.
Which is really, you know, I think, and again, I think this is not something that everybody agrees with, but that's kind of how I interpreted Last Jedi as well, that, like, Rey tried, and she failed because at the end of the day, she can't do it if Ben doesn't want to. And, like, it showed her goodness and also his making the decision to be evil, which, again, lasted for a movie.
Redemption requires enthusiastic consent.
It does indeed. But it is interesting because there's this concept of, you know, redemption that kind of goes against Star Wars, right? Like, the Star Wars version of redemption is if you do one good thing, your past gets wiped away. And that's how Luke feels about Vader. It's not how Leia feels about Vader, because Leia's not dumb, but but it's how Luke feels about Vader. It's how fans feel about Kylo Ren. I don't know that anybody in universe feels like that about Kylo Ren, but it's how fans feel like that. It's how Rey felt probably at the beginning of Last Jedi. I think it's fair to say. But and then on the other side of that coin, you have Poe, who we are really seeing in detail the fallout of his actions, and he has to personally tell Black Squadron what he did, and the fact that he is so the fact that he is responsible for a lot of death, that he, you know, did a mutiny.
Did a mutiny. I have performed mutiny.
As Kristen says, the fact that he is a whole dumbass. But he really has to deal with that. And Black Squadron is like, and they're obviously his closest friends, right? Like, they're his people. They're his squadron, handpicked. Snap and him have been friends, we get the feeling, for many years.
Since they were children. Like, yeah.
Miranda, I'm giving you space to make your point.
Except Ben. So that was the whole point. I just wanted to do that movement. But yeah, Poe's a whole dumbass, and he's like, so I did a thing. we have to keep doing things even though I just killed everybody and got them super dead. Do you want to go relive your past traumas?
Every single fucking one of you.
Yeah, and we see Maz, who we get some actual characterization from in this too. Like, Poe tries to recruit her, and she's like, I don't think I trust you.
I heard
right
you
now.
got everyone dead.
Like, I would like for you to not get me dead. I've lived this long from people not getting me dead.
I heard you got everyone dead, and furthermore, you broke my castle. I spent a long time on that Lego kit. It was thousands of pieces, and you knocked it all down.
It's like, do you know how long I've had this castle? I thought 1,000 years, 1,000 years, and like the thing where he like answers while she's trying. It's hard to do with just me, but yeah. She was like, "Sir."
Yeah, and so you have
fuck.
in Poe kind of the real time version of somebody understanding that they did wrong, wanting to be redeemed, which is very much the Star Wars model. And people are like, I need to sit with this a little bit because you fucked up and people died. And it's great that you feel bad about that, but it doesn't bring, Paige Tico back to life. Like, it doesn't bring our entire bombing fleet back to life, and thus the rest of our fleet getting destroyed as well, because we didn't have a bombing fleet. So we see people actually having to work for redemption for the first time in Star Wars, in, Leia saying that Ben would need to work for it, and Poe seeing him need to work for it, and it's refreshing.
It is. Just, I understand that Star Wars is a bunch of stories for children to teach them about how good and bad works. But that doesn't mean that we can't teach children that your actions need to go along with your words, and also for a certain period of time.
Yeah, you can't just say sorry, like, I'm sorry.
I know, exactly.
Like, you gotta back it up with some, like, if you say sorry and don't really mean it, and don't try to be better,
You're
not sorry.
Oh,
You will be
my
sorry.
God.
Okay, so, I will say this about Maz, like, she obviously super does not trust Poe, and rightfully so. He is a dumbass, and was like, this is a good idea, let's get all these fucking people dead, because I think I'm, this hotshot pilot. And this is just, like, me speaking from, like, experience in my life. I've never gotten a bunch of people dead like that, but, like...
I was going to say, Miranda, do you have something to confess for?
Like, when you really need to step it up, right? And because Maz, like, she plays a neutral party, but she's definitely, like, the force and the light, like, low-key. Like, she'll deal with whatever. But I think part of it, too, is, like, she ends up... And we'll see how this works out. I haven't read past Chapter 9 yet. But, like, I feel it's one of those situations where she is, like, pushing all the right buttons on him to, like, really piss him off and make him, like, angry, go out and do the fucking thing. Like, fuck you, I'm gonna redeem myself. You're not my real mom.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. I think that there's a lot of testing him in a way. Like, I am hearing the right stuff from you, but, like, I want to see how you react under pressure, because as you both were just saying, it doesn't matter what you say if you don't back it up with your actions. And also, actions aren't always reliable if they're calculated, right? Like, you need to see how people react when they're stressed out to see who they are. And I completely agree. I think that there's a good element of that in what Maz is doing.
She's crafty like that.
She's very mysterious.
All right. I think the last thing we want to talk about and we've touched on this a little bit already, but we've got returning cast of characters from previous books. Roka Roanhorse has liberally borrowed other people's original characters and folded them into here. I think specifically we want to talk about Wedge and Nora a little bit more because Nora still has some issues being a functioning person.
Yeah. Speaking of the consequences of my actions.
Oh, Nora. Ugh. Yeah. I feel like this is a person that Wedge has tried to shovel into therapy like multiple times. She's like, no, don't need that. Just gonna fucking rearrange the root cellar again and stare out the window and just like have a panic attack and build myself an escape tunnel under the house because that's what normal people do, etc. And Wedge is just like, sure, honey, sounds fine, never mind, and goes about
just like picking the eggs.
Yeah, I know, being a soft man with his space chickens and
yeah. I did love the drama of her like literally staring out the window like, when will my husband come back from the war? Except it's, my son has literally returned to the war. What the fuck? Fuck him. Why is there a goddamn X-Wing on my lawn?
I also like, an extreme mood is him coming like, hey, Mom, great to see you. Brought the wife. She's just like, who died? Tell me now. And Wedge is like, I just want to make breakfast with my space chicken eggs. And poor Wedge is so soft. I
want to know what she and God, what's the wife's name?
Kare.
I
Very
want to know what
vibes.
Yeah, I was like, is this like Core from fucking Bloodline? Rip in peace, but
alas.
Like, I want to know what they talked about. They went out, like, hit up the town or some shit to, like, calm her the fuck down because her son rolled up and it was not fucking great, my dude.
And he, like, in her defense, she was not the only person looking for a fight in that discussion.
Oh, no.
Like,
no, he came raring to go.
Yeah, they very clearly have not solved most of their trauma, like, just evidenced by how quickly Snap brought out, of course she's still crazy. Remember the time she fucking jumped out of a spaceship over Jakku?
Nothing to see here, folks.
They clearly did not take our advice about space therapy. I think it's safe to say.
This only happened 30 years ago. Kristen says, unresolved trauma? In my Star Wars? I know.
Couldn't be.
Wild fucking times. Truly.
Yeah,
but it is interesting. We get that the dichotomy of kind of the two, and I don't want to say stereotypes. The two archetypes is the word I'm looking for of the post-war soldier, of the old veteran. You get the person who did make it back essentially, and you know they're not entirely whole. Wedge still has his aches and pains, but he likes his chickens. He hates the humidity, which is relatable as fuck. But
Same.
it, like, he's good with his life. He's very comfortable with it. And on the other hand, you have Nora, who, from joining the rebellion when Snap was a child, has never left the war. Like, as much as she has tried to get out, she has never escaped it.
Yeah. And, like, I think what makes that worse, too, is, like, she was in the war when her husband joined. Like, it was before she fucking abandoned Snap on Akiva. You know, and it's just really interesting, too, to, like, see those kind of two archetypes, as you said, but also see them, like, in a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like, let me burn everything to the ground and stare out the window and, you know, do all that stuff that Kay mentioned earlier. And Wedge has, like, big, it is a simple life vibes. Like, when someone
Yes.
rolls up to the farm, like, farming.
The dog is complaining because we're not paying attention to him, so that's what you're hearing. in
Not
the
our
background.
orca.
Oh, you threw the ball. All right, Chris. Yes.
But yeah,
Also-
so you have those, but then to kind of almost Well, no, I don't even think it's counteracting. Like, you have Wedge, who is clearly the more well-adjusted and is so more ready to go back to the war, because for him, it is something to go back to. It is not something he's been living for the past 30 years.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's more of like, I feel weird like talking about it in these terms, but like it's a sense of duty to the galaxy. And, you know, like he loves his little life with the chickens and the neighbors that hate him. And they're like, let's think on it. And he just like puts his like little flight boots right next to bed so he can put them on in the morning. Like, okay, I'm ready. Like, does he want to go back? No. Like, he fought his war, but he's like, okay, we gotta do this again. And like, I think at the end of this section, Nora hasn't made a decision. She's obviously gonna go back.
Well, she thinks she hasn't made a decision anyway.
You can't make a decision to return to the war when you've been in it for 30 years. Woo.
Yeah.
Truly.
I have a bad
But no,
feeling
literally,
about this.
it's like the fucking meme of like this is not going to be useful for an audio medium, but the guy like pointing at himself being like, can't go back to a war you never left.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god. I'm upset with you. Great. Can we talk about Yendor, my boy?
I always want to talk about Yendor.
Yendor's my boy, and I'm so glad to see him. He has shown up. Claudia Gray invented, like, was she the one who invented him?
Yes, he first appeared in Lost Stars.
Yeah, right, okay. Just making sure. And then he has subsequently shown up in, like, all of these fucking books. Like, various people have borrowed him, and, like, for various things. And he's back, and I am so happy. I was just like, Yendor's alive.
And
Yendor fucks.
that exactly. More importantly than being alive.
He fucks. And he has some very angry children.
Mouthy children.
Which, honestly, we stand.
And grandchildren?
Oh, we love it.
And grandchildren. Freaking me out.
Like, he's just, like, fucking living in his, like, little library cave with his grandchildren running around. Like, living his best life, honestly.
Is that not the dream?
It
truly.
is. It's completely the dream.
Kristen would like to point out that we did, in fact, talk about Lost Stars by Claudia Gray in episodes 33 through 35. And I believe one of those episodes we had Poppy Ashwright on from the Parapetai Pod to talk to us about YA stuff.
We did indeed. This is correct. That was probably episode 35.
I don't fucking remember.
I was also on one of those episodes.
Yeah, you were. Because...
Oh, was that the one where I was, like, dyeing my Anakin costume?
Yes.
Stirring your Jedi soup.
Ah, yes.
You're just, like, part of the pod now, and I forget that you were, like...
Weren't always
technically
here.
were, yes.
Yeah.
At a point, which seems weird
Yeah.
now.
But yeah, so we, as you know, the podcast met Yendor in Bloodline, but Lost Stars did come out first, and, you know, we met him as one of the pilots of Corona Squadron alongside Thane. And so he is also someone who very, like, Wedge got his start when he was young as a hotshot pilot and survived. And he never left the war, but in a very different way, right? Like, he never left the war in the sense that Ryloth has always been shit on by the galaxy, and so they never really demilitarized because they weren't in the New Republic.
Wait, he had those kids, though, already when he was a pilot.
Did he?
I think he may have.
IDK. You could very well be right. I
I'm
just don't
sorry.
remember.
I just,
We'll look it up.
I have a PhD in Yendor. I love Yendor, okay? I'm sorry.
But so we have
Yeah, you
kind
had
of
a point, sorry.
the three archetypes of the former pilots and the former, like, foot soldiers of the war. Like, you have the one who got away, who actually made it out, you know, with his aches and pains, not unscathed, but made it out. You have the one who stayed in on his own terms in Yendor, and then you have Nora, who stayed in because she couldn't leave. And it's just interesting to see them next to Leia, not just because it's a big getting the band back together moment, which, you know, Star Wars is all about, but also because, you know, we see the multiple ways that people handled the aftermath of the rebellion and or didn't. And so and we can, you know, look at the new pilots that they're seeing. We have Rey meeting Yendor, and Yendor being incredibly impressed with Rey. And Yendor is somebody who's met a lot of impressive people. You assume from the way he talks that he at least met Luke, even if they weren't close. And Wedge obviously knew Luke very well, and we're going to see who he interacts with as we go. But it's really a meeting of the generations and kind of seeing each other in them.
Okay, boomer.
Huh?
What?
I literally didn't hear you, but I get the sense that's okay.
That's
Yeah, it's fine.
it's fine. Shit posting things.
Cool.
Okay, what Wikipedia is saying that Yendor did not poop out babies until after the Civil War. I swear to God, I'm going to spend the next goddamn week digging through Lost Stars just to find this fucking reference. Lost Stars is not a small book. I really don't want to do my writing.
Yeah. I know this probably seems like nitpicky, but if we're talking about archetypes, like I don't know if Yendor can be classified as like he's returning to the war on his own terms, because again, like Ryloth is literally always in some kind of fucked up state, like nothing good is ever happening like galactically there. Somebody is always trying to like fuck them up. They've like never had peace. These poor fucking Twi'leks. They're like, can we just live in our caves and be happy? And the galaxy's like, fuck you. So like, and I think he does kind of retreat from the war a bit. The wars, all Star Wars ever. And he does become like the politician. He does become a scholar according to Wikipedia via Kristen. But like he can't just like walk away from conflict. It's just not possible. If that's the point.
No, I think that is a point.
Yeah.
Because, Ryloth. It's almost like colonizers shouldn't touch things. Ever.
What a concept.
And that's, honestly, and we'll get into this because we're going to, I think it's clear from where we left off in this part, this section of the reading, that we're going to see more of them on Ryloth. And it is, I don't think, an accident that you see the colonized world coming to the rescue as written by a Black and Native author.
You love to see it.
Like, and we'll talk about what that means and what it means for Ryloth to be able to play the hero in this role, or on the other hand, for Ryloth to want to, some parts of Ryloth want to choose to stay neutral and not get involved in a war for once in their goddamn lives. Like, that's...
Which usually works out great for them.
Yeah, seriously. And we're going to talk more about that because it's an important theme, and it's not an accident that we're seeing it. On that note, I think we can look forward to next week. Thank you for listening to episode 124 of the Book Wars Pod. Continue to stay inside and wear masks because the world is stupid. Our next episode, we're going to be continuing with Resistance Reborn, chapters 10 through 21. In the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at BookWarsPod. Email us, bookwarspod@gmail.com. And rate, review, and subscribe to both us and the Tosche Station Radio Mega Feed. It is the best way for people to discover the show, and particularly this month as we hopefully start to get some news about all the stuff that we would have found out at Star Wars Celebration.
Nah, they're just going to hold it for like however many years.
I'm completely serious when I say we're not going to know what the next Star Wars movie is about until Star Wars Celebration 2022 at this point. They're not going to tell us.
They'll let us know the day before the movie comes out.
Yeah, like I'm confident they will know who wrote it by the time it comes out.
It's just going to like say Star Wars and you go into this theater and see what happens.
Oh my god.
Honestly,
that would actually be kind of fun.
Would be okay with that instead of all the shit that leads up to stuff
yes,
these days.
Actually, that'd be kind of fun.
And that would also be very par for the course of Lucasfilm marketing.
It's like dropping an album, just there it is. I would love that. Anyway.
Still would have gotten more marketing than Solo.
Ooh.
Again, we're asking people not to give to the Tasha Station Radio Patreon or Coffee right now. Please continue, if you have spare funds, to donate to Black communities and other communities in need. Looking at websites like Aid to Abolition, for example, we have some great resources on our pinned tweet on our Twitter account at BookWarsPod. So if you do have any money to spare, now is a great time to be generous with it. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design.
I have a raffle.
Kate has a raffle.
I have a whole ass raffle.
I skipped a bullet point because it's.
Oh my god.
I was on autopilot. It's always the same outro.
Oh.
Our theme song is not Whiz Bang yet. Ignore the fact that you heard that. You have no idea who our theme song is by.
So to encourage you to donate to Black communities, please pick a charity or GoFundMe or community pot of your choice. Throw some money at them. It can be as little as $1. $1 equals one entry ticket, and what I am giving away is a bunch of Ray-themed Squadron Goals stuff. So I've got a mini print and some stickers and a pin. We'll slap the picture on the Instagram. It'll be great. So, yeah, just please email whatever receipt they spit out at you or whatever your proof of donation to bookwarspod@gmail.com, and I will get you entered, and you can win fun stuff because Black Lives Matter, and also there's a Zara celebration, so I thought I'd make a happy, fun little package of cute Star Wars shit. Now I'm done. Fuck you, Chris.
We approve. Now, you were on the edge of your seats. Our theme song is written by
Mother of.
Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. Our audio and production were done by the Ghost of Kristen. For Kate and Miranda, I'm Chris. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod, and we'll talk to you next week.